Loch Ness Monster is merely one more thing. God, however, is not merely one more thing. The person who believes in God and the person who does not believe in God do not merely disagree about God, but they disagree about the very character of the universe and everything in it, right? Throughout history, people have tried to prove the existence of God. By the way, the Bible never tries to prove the existence of God. The Bible just says, in the beginning, God, right? Doesn't try to prove it, but a lot of people have tried to do that, and there's 4 philosophical arguments, is what they're called, about the existence of God. And I wanted to share those with you to begin with. The first one is called the ontological argument. And it basically means, because I can conceive of God, he has to exist.
I think, therefore I am.
Kind of, yes.
What did you say?
Only that would be on our part, not on,
Yes,
but same kind of thing. Because we can conceive of God, then he must exist. God is defined, I'm going to go ahead and tell you all of this. You don't need to write all this down, but you can look it up sometime if you want. But God is defined as that which nothing greater can be conceived. He is the greatest possible being. And since we conceive of this, and a being that exists both in our mind as well as in reality would be greater than a being that exists only in our mind, then there has to be a being that is greater, so it has to be a real person, right? Philosophers are not noted for being very clear, easy to understand. The rest of these are much easier, okay? Cosmological argument basically is also called the first cause. Because the earth is here, because the universe is here, something had to cause that. There had to be something eternal that caused the beginning of all things, and that's God. Now, if you ask some scientists, some of them would say that matter has always been, and matter and energy are eternal. They've always been, always will be. We don't agree with that, but that's what they say. The teleological argument, it's sometimes called design, the argument of design. Look, if you saw a watch, and you took apart a watch and you look at it, the intricate nature of a watch determines that there had to be a watchmaker. You know, it's not just going to suddenly appear all by itself. If you look at nature, everything in the universe, how it all came about, there had to be a designer. This one, look at, there's so many things. I have a video series that I used to show all the time about animals that defy evolution is the title of it. And there's take the giraffe. Very, very long neck, right? The problem is, if the giraffe, if he didn't have something that helped him and he bent down, he would stroke out because the blood would all rush to his head. If he stood up too fast after getting a drink, he would pass out. So what happens is it's got a spongy material stuff right under the brain, and when he raises up, that material is squished together and pushes blood into his brain to keep him from passing out. When he dips his head down, it fills up with blood to keep him from having a stroke. There's no way that all of that would happen one thing at a time. It has to all be there. And there's a lot of others. I'm not going to get into a lot of that. And then the moral argument basically says, because there is such a thing as right or wrong, there must be somebody who determines right and wrong. And that is God. Now, again, the Bible never tries to prove that God exists. It just says, in the beginning, God. We're going to look at Isaiah chapter 40, starting with verse 25. I'm going to go ahead and read it, and you can follow along. It says, "To whom will you compare me?" This is God speaking. Or who is my equal, says the Holy One? Lift up your eyes and look to the heavens. Who create all of these? Who brings out the starry hosts one by one and calls forth each of them by name? Because of his great power and mighty strength, not one of them is missing. Why do you complain, Jacob? Why do you say, Israel, that my way is hidden from the Lord? My cause is disregarded by my God. And this is the part that I'm sure you all are very familiar with. Do you not know, have you not heard, the Lord is the everlasting God. That is the El Olam, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. He is the everlasting God, the eternal God. So, some things about that. What do you think, eternal God? What does that mean? Okay. He's always been, always will be. He didn't have a beginning, won't have an end. There's other things about that, other characteristics. But I want to start with that. He eternally exists. That's number one. R.C. Sproul, who's a very famous pastor, he said that this first words of Genesis 1, in the beginning God, is the most fundamental assertion of historic Christianity and the single most bombarded target by secular philosophy and by neo-paganism in our day. Every pagan knows that if you can get rid of creation, then you are rid of God. And if you get rid of God, you can live however you want. That's what he said. And I agree with everything. There is so much. I used to have a cartoon that I used to show all the time, and it had a like a castle being attacked. It was a castle of Christianity being attacked, and on the other side was Satan and they were shooting cannons and stuff, but they weren't shooting it at the wall. They were shooting at the base of creation. They were just trying to destroy the belief in creation. Because if you get rid of creation, yes. And there are, by the way, just so you know, there are hundreds of very, very intelligent Christian scientists that do not believe in evolution. I have read from a couple in the past of, one, it was years ago, but he was he said he was an agnostic. Didn't believe in God, but he said it was something to the effect of, evolution doesn't work. He said, I don't believe in creation, but we got to come up with some better explanation because evolution can't work.
He knew something existed, he just wasn't ready to put a name on it.
Yes, yeah, and that's the way a lot of them are. A lot of people that I talk to all the time, it's like, that's just the best explanation that we have right now. And I'm thinking, no, it's not. And the only one is that God did it, right? So he exists. And Ecclesiastes, it says he has also set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from the beginning to end. I know that everything God does will endure forever, and nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that men will revere him. God is before all things. These are just statements. What does that mean? He is before all things. He created everything. It does, but I don't think this is necessarily just talking about, I guess on this one, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, he's the source. He's the creator. What we read a while ago, he said, lift up your eyes and look to the heavens. Who created all of this? Who brings the stars out at night, and who does all of that stuff?
It's also in the future, so he's there before we even get there.
That's right.
What's going on and all the different options.
Yes, he knows it all. He also is greater than all things. That's the second statement. By the way, Isaiah 40, 25, and 26, and then Genesis 1:1 goes with that first one. He is greater than all things, Isaiah 40, 12, which we read a while ago. I'm sorry, we did not read this a while ago. This is before that. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, or with the breadth of his hand marked off the heavens? Who's held the dust of the earth in a basket, or weighed the mountains on scales and the hills in a balance? Only God can do all of those things. Psalm 8 is one of my favorite psalms, and it talks about him. I don't remember exact wording for some reason, but it's like everything he created, it did kind of like twiddling his finger. That's all it took. Now, I know he spoke it into existence, but comparison, it's no harder what he did for him than twiddling his fingers. And then he is sovereign over all things. And this we read. No, we didn't read this either. This is right before that. Isaiah 40. All of this is Isaiah 40, though. He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, and its people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy and spreads them out like a tent to live in. He brings princes to naught and reduces the rulers of the world to nothing. So he is eternal. He is before all things. He's above all things. He's greater than all things, and he's sovereign over all things. Being eternal has a lot of different nuances, and that's just part of them. Another thing is he is eternally consistent. What does that mean? Same always. You know a verse that goes with that?
Keeps his promise.
Yeah, he keeps his promises.
He is the same yesterday, today.
Forever. Hebrews 13:8. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. James 1:17 says, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. Shadows, depending on the time of day, the shadow will move. Well, God doesn't do that. In the King James, it says there is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. That's the same verse. It's just in King James instead of the NIV. There's no changing him. He is, yeah. I just went blank on the word. That's terrible. Immutable? Is that right? Yeah. That's the King James part. Yep. And everything about him is eternal and unchanging. His word, Isaiah 40, verse 8. Keep going back to that chapter. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God stands forever. His glory is eternal. This is found in 1 Peter. God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ. His love is eternal. Jeremiah 31:3. I've loved you with an everlasting love, and I've drawn you with loving kindness. And of course, his salvation is eternal. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have eternal life, everlasting life. Yeah. So he is consistent. He never changes. I'll tell you this story. There was a man named Bill Irwin. He was blind, and he got a program that would read and read the Bible to him and then help him to study the Bible. And he said when he first got it, he had some laughs over the pronunciation as it would go through and read the Bible. He said, like for a long time, instead of saying Holy Bible, they would say Holly Bibble.
Who changed it?
Hmm?
Who changed it?
It's just the way that the program was reading it. The program, it's like an AI thing, but this was year before that.
Gotcha.
Anyway, he finally figured out a way to change that, so now it said Holy Bible. But the computer programmer was Hispanic, and instead of having it say Jesus Christ, it said Jesus Christ. And he tried and tried and tried and found out that the programmer made it impossible to change that. And he said, I like that. You can't change Jesus, right? Because Jesus doesn't change. Other things you can, but you can't change Jesus. And because of that, you have this statement there, he can be trusted to help us through life's difficulties. Because he is the eternal God, he can be trusted to help us. Verse 29 and 30 to 31, we read right up to this point a while ago. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall, but those whose hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not faint. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. We know we can trust Jesus. We can trust God to help us through it. No matter what we have to go through in our lives, he can be trusted, and he's not going to change. And again, it goes back to what I read a while ago. Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. And then the last point, we're going to finish a little early tonight. I know I didn't really have, this one was one of those that was really hard to try to figure out ways to ask questions and discuss. It was just more present. He's eternally present. Not only is he, I like the way, I don't remember exactly where I read it, but it's sometimes we say God was and is and always will be, but that's really not theologically correct, because God is, and I believe he's outside time. So there was never a was, there's not a will be. God is.
That is true.
And that's the way we need to look at it. That we can have really good close friends and family, but they can't be with us 24/7, right? But God is. He's there all the time. In Deuteronomy 31, it says, the Lord himself goes before you. He will be with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. So do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. It's very difficult sometimes for us not to get afraid or not to get discouraged. But when it comes down to it, we know that God's there to help us. So again, it's kind of like Sunday when I talked about the fact that you have this knowledge up here and your faith up here, but sometimes it takes a while to get it down to what we're acting upon it. We need to trust and act upon that faith. And Matthew 28, surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. He is always there. He's always going to take care of us, and we can trust him in everything that we do. So, God, eternal God. So anytime you need help, anytime things, another thing that I was meant to say earlier, if you as you read the Bible, hopefully you're reading the Bible all the time, but as you read it, and you read stories about what God did in the Old Testament, or Jesus, the miracles he did in the New Testament, God doesn't change, right? He can still do that. There's a song that's real popular right now, and it says something about if he did it before, he can do it now. And that's true. He can and will. Sometimes it's just our lack of faith, lack of belief in that. But as you're going through things in your life and you read in the Bible of other people that went through those same kind of things and how God worked, you can trust him to do the same thing for you. Okay? Any questions or comments?
It's just already settled. He is, always will be. It's
Yes.
settled. He is, always will be.
Yes. Yep. All right. Did you pick out a chorus for us to sing? Okay. All right. I will probably start it too low for y'all.
You'll probably start what on the.
Too low, because I'm a bass. I don't sing high. But we'll try it.
Jay's musical, he might.
Yep,
know how to
he
sing.
might.
Well,
Yeah, that's
we
kind of
got,
what I
she's the musical.
I don't know if I
You don't know
remember
this?
song, Honey Child.
Okay. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, Lord, bind us together with love.
Oh, we got through it.
Yes.
It took me a few sentences to be like, oh, I recognize some of this.
Yeah, I